Thank you for joining us during the short tutorial, the sixth in a 10-part Data 101 series. By the end of all 10 sessions, you will have a working knowledge of how to build an Excel template to collect and filter quality improvement intervention data. In this series, we will build a sample Excel template together that uses patient coaching for illustration purposes. However, Excel could be used in this way to collect data on other interventions as well. Depending on your level of Excel expertise, you may choose not to listen to all 10 sessions. If you are new to collecting data, a few other skills to learn that would highly complement this series would be the Plan, Do, Study, Act, or PDSA cycle, and SMART goals. By the end of session 6, you will be able to freeze and unfreeze panes, use the end, home, page up, and page down commands, create drop-down lists to use when entering data. If you are just joining the series, we have been progressively building an Excel spreadsheet that will look like this. Let's get started. I can freeze column titles, so when I move around the screen within the worksheet, they stay in a fixed position. Under the View tab, there's a Freeze Panes button. To freeze rows 1 and 2, I'll select row 3. Click the View tab, click on the Freeze Panes button, and select Freeze Panes. Now you can see when I page down the spreadsheet, the titles stay viewable at the top of the page. To unfreeze the panes, just click the Unfreeze Panes command button. This becomes more useful the larger your spreadsheet becomes. When your spreadsheet is populated with a lot of information, there are some shortcut keys that will allow you to quickly and easily get to other areas of your worksheet. In order to demonstrate more quickly, I'm going to cut and paste cell contents from this blank tab into the entry worksheet. Now, when I select cell A3, and want to get to the end of that row, I can press and hold the End key on my keyboard and press the right arrow. To get back to A3, press the Home key. To navigate up and down, use End and Up arrow, then End and Down arrow. It's worth noting that if there are blank cells in the row or column, this is where the system will recognize the end, and it will only take you that far. In addition, the page up and page down keys on your keyboard allow you to move a page at a time instead of just a row or column at a time. To conclude this session, I'll cover how to start formatting the cells for data entry. It's real important to ensure there's consistency in the way data is being entered. When data is populated in freeform, it's much harder to filter and evaluate. Creating drop-down lists for a person who's entering data is an effective way of doing this. If you don't use drop-downs, when you start writing formulas, there will be things the system may not recognize because of variation in the way it is entered. For example, if someone types yes in all lowercase and you write a formula with yes in uppercase, it won't use the lowercase yes in the calculation. Let's add drop-down lists for insurance and both diagnosis columns. We have to first decide what we want in our drop-down list. For insurance, I am primarily interested in Medicare fee-for-service, dual eligible, uninsured, and other. I will enter these in any cells that I don't anticipate using. I usually do this either at the bottom of the same column or on a different worksheet. Each list item must be entered in its own cell. For diagnosis, I want to capture chronic heart failure, acute myocardial infarction, pneumonia, and Other. Now, all we have to do is select one cell within those corresponding columns, click the Data tab, Data Validation button, and then tell the system that we want a list. Once you do that, click this button here, select the cells that have what you want in the drop-down list, hit Enter, and OK. Now go back to the cell, and here is the drop-down list that users will select from. Copy the cell and paste to the area you want the list to apply to. I'll take these same steps in the primary and secondary diagnosis columns. I'll take these same steps in the primary and secondary diagnosis columns to create my drop-down selection list. For now, these are the only two drop-down lists we'll create, but do recognize that it would be effective and appropriate to add drop-down lists to nearly every column in our entry worksheet. This concludes Session 6. The first link listed here will take you to the Microsoft training on Excel if you are on a version other than what we have used to demonstrate through the series. If you are interested in building on what you've learned today, be sure to look at the additional sessions in this Data 101 series. Also, remember that understanding PDSA and SMART goals will provide great foundational frameworks when you are in the phase of determining which data to collect. Thank you for viewing this video tutorial.